Hi, I'm Tracy, VE3TWM. Thank you for tuning in to Outdoors on the Air. Recently, while compiling a video chronicling my 10 years of field day activations, I had the opportunity to review hundreds of still photos I had taken over the years while operating portable. During this exercise, I was reminded of just how valuable those photos are to me and how often I use them as a database of information for planning upcoming outings. For the first time, it occurred to me that others might be able to benefit from photos the way I do. In this short video, I'll explain how I use the resulting files to become a more proficient portable operator. I'll explain what I do and describe how this small extra effort has paid off for me. The work put into capturing the experience is very minimal in terms of both effort and time, but the resulting images could reveal valuable information in the following months and years. I'll also give some real-world examples to illustrate my points. Now you may be thinking that you don't need photos, that you can remember those places well enough. It's entirely possible your memory is better than mine. What I find is that while I do recall some details of the places I have been, viewing photos brings me right back to the experience and reminds me of aspects I may have forgotten. So presuming you are still with me, let's get into it. When I am outdoors playing radio, I take an actual compact camera with me to take the still shots. While I could use my phone, I prefer the better quality a real camera gives me, and I enjoy the convenience of using SD cards to quickly and simply transfer the data to my home computer. You might be asking why I don't just take video rather than photos, and that's a fair question. There are two reasons. I find watching video that was shot while the camera is moving gives me nausea. Also, as long as the photo is clear, a still image is easier to zoom in on to see fine detail. Now, upon arriving at each site, I will walk around the perimeter and take still shots from each corner and at the outside midpoints to give myself an idea of the terrain. Once I have the antenna and radio set up, I then take a photo of the station and several of the antenna deployment, again from multiple angles. I also like to take a close-in shot of the radio's display so I can see what settings were being used at the time. This information could be useful if you're experiencing anything adverse during your activation. The issue could have been one of the settings. If I'm at a campsite, I will also take a photo of the campsite number sign. I may want to utilize the campsite again or avoid it if it was not to my satisfaction. Being able to refer to the campsite number later could keep me from booking the wrong site if I don't have a copy of the campsite permit. The same logic applies to locations where access involves taking multiple turns in the road to reach. Photos of landmarks or signs along the way can help steer you to your destination next time. Now that you've had your activation and are back home, make sure you download the photos or video files to your computer and organize them so you can quickly refer to the correct ones later. As an example, when I go camping, all the photos I take are grouped by year, month, and the location name. When you are planning a trip to the same place you've been to previously, scan through the related files to remind yourself of what the location was like, what the conditions were, and what obstacles the site presented to you. Here's a few examples based on locations I have been to over the years. This is a nice campsite. It's a very private and pretty site, as depicted in this photo, but there was absolutely no way I could put up even a short dipole due to the close spacing of the trees and low-hanging branches. Next time I go there, I will take a vertical or a magnetic loop. Here's another example. When I first traveled to this park, I encountered a beach that was covered in small stones. I had intended to use my telescopic mast to support the antenna, but the stones made that option impossible. By reviewing this photo prior to returning to that park, I was instantly reminded of that location-specific situation. Here is one more for you. This is a nice site I was at a few years back. I erected a 40 through 10 meter G5 RV between two trees, but the site was more than long enough to put up either an 80 meter or 160 meter off-center fed using my 50-foot telescopic pole. By reviewing the resulting photos after I got home, I determined that the next time I go there, I will opt for the longer OCF. One final example for you. Often when we go out, the weather is nice. But what if the previous day or night there had been rain? Here's a site I operated at in good weather, but that place would be a muddy mess after a good downpour. And yes, there is one other good reason to take these photos. They sure are nice to look at when the weather is bad and you can't go out. Do you take photos and videos when you go out, even if you are not publishing? How do you use those and what value do you get from them? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Well, that's all for this time. Thanks for watching. Now it's your turn. Get out of the shack, get outdoors, and get on the air. 7-3 from Tracy, VE3, TWM.